We're back here at the Lost Cause Ranch with the budget LR4, and right there we have solar power. We're pretty much off the grid now. You may ask, Joe, why does your LR4 need a 100-watt solar panel on the roof? So say you are 24 hours into camping in your LR4 and you haven't moved it. Namely, it's actually like 32 hours on the dot. You get in, you got your key, you go ahead, hit that. Nothing happens. So a few weeks ago, we built this little slide-out kitchen setup for our LR4, utilizing this little rough country refrigerator with some Mountain Dew on the inside. This guy has worked flawlessly. It's like bringing everything with you, including the kitchen sink. But one minor downfall. That fridge, when you run it all the time, drains the battery. So we're gonna do two things to solve that issue. We're going to install a dual battery setup. But first, today, we're gonna get 100 watts of solar power on the roof. So for our solar setup, keeping it in theme with the rest of the Overland LR4 build, we went with a Renogy 100-watt kit that came with 100-watt solar panel, all the necessary wiring, and the charge controller. 30-amp Wander charge controller, 100-amp panel. This controller says it can go up to 400 watts, so we could theoretically put 4 of these panels on the LR4. I don't know where we would put them. We'd have to like hang them off the side. $158 as of this video on Amazon. The only thing we had to get is we got a couple inline fuse holders so we can keep everything safe. Up here you can see the nice paint fade. My thoughts on this is we're gonna do what Joe does best and make stuff not functional. So we're gonna cover up that sunroof. It should still be able to tilt and everything and open. You just won't be able to see out of it because there's a solar panel there. But if you look at the rest of the roof on the LR4, we have a tent in the way. So that seems to be about the only piece of real estate left. So that's where it's gonna go. I'd rather not have a fully useful sunroof than a dead battery, so is what it is. How we're gonna make this work is we're gonna tie into this roof rack. We got our little nut-zerts already installed there. And we're gonna go down to the front mounting holes on the LR4 roof rails with some framework. It's gonna kind of angle its way down in some sort of aerodynamic fashion. Maybe I should tilt it more and try and bump it over a tent. But we're not gonna do that. So what we're gonna start off with is building that framework. We're gonna bust these little plastic things out. Those are usually a pain. Gotta pop them out, drill them, but we'll get those out of the way. Then there's 6mm threaded bungs in there. Then we'll have our flat bar. That's 1/4 inch thick aluminum. That piece will go across the roof. And then this guy here will get chopped in two. About 22 inches, that's 4 feet, but two 22-inch pieces or so, and that will go from there down to our crossbar. So this frame build should be pretty quick, and hopefully this all prevents me from looking like an idiot with a dead battery because of that fridge. I do enough of looking like an idiot on my own. Don't need any additional help. So we got our little support rails measured out. These will go down from the roof rail to the crossbar. So they'll have one hole for the mounting to the roof rail, and then this end will be welded directly to that crossbar. The only thing we have to do on this end is we'll have our mounting hole drilled there, but on the other side we will have to cut this section out of this upright because this will have to bend slightly so we can bolt it flush to the bottom of the rail while this is angled downwards towards the crossbar. All right, we got our little drop rails made up, and at the approximate angle from the roof rack, these will get welded to the bottom of this crossbar at the width of the solar panel, and that will be the frame that the solar panel gets bolted to. As you can see here, they are just slightly angled downward. You may have caught that I messed up on one and drilled a hole on the wrong side. It happens. I corrected that because I want the little downward legs to be on the outside when it is, I guess it would be sitting like this when it's bolted to the roof. That way so it looks even. So the frame is all welded up, fairly lightweight, probably only a couple pounds. Got our little aluminum TIG weld on that. So we're gonna bolt it up to that solar panel. So there is our solar panel all mounted up on the roof. We're only covering portion of the sunroof, so we still get a little natural light. But no, this guy is into the front rails there, then tied in at the rear to that bolt together aluminum rack that we built. So up there, getting some light right now. So solar panel there, what's that leave us with? Getting the sun juice to the battery. So we're gonna route some wiring along this rail behind this pillar cover into the engine bay. Ideally, I'd like to go like right there. That'd be simple, but not enough hood clearance. And being we are going to add a second battery over on this side, I don't want to eat up any real estate over here, because we want to get as large a battery as possible in there. We'll have to move the transfer case control module out of the way for that. So I think what we are going to do is make a bracket off the radiator support and hang it in this general vicinity. That way we can route the wiring back along this edge, tie it into the battery, tie it into the pillar. I don't know if you can see those flickering right now, but that's part of the issue we're trying to solve. The battery's probably now too drained to start the vehicle because of the fridge. All right, so we got our little bracket for the charge controller welded up. I think that's pretty neat looking. All aluminum once again. So we're gonna bolt the charge controller to that, and then we'll get our holes drilled in this vicinity through the radiator support, get this bolted in, then we run, I'll get back in the camera, then we run wiring. our 2 cables from the solar panel down this pillar right there into the engine bay. The kit comes with some length. These are pretty long. All right, so got our wiring ran down from the solar panel, charge controller back off. Got our positive side here. We're gonna leave a little extra length on this guy because we're not gonna cut or trim any of the trim. We're not gonna trim any of the trim, namely this piece up here. It'll probably get a little edge knocked out, so that sits flush. But going to wait to do that until I use it for a little bit and I'm satisfied with where it's at. I don't want to be cutting a bunch of holes and stuff and then moving the solar panel or taking it off. So we're gonna wait, try it out for a week or 2, then we'll trim everything up. Same thing goes with the routing through here. So it's gonna be a little crude, but it'll still look nice. I mean, you could run it like this. It's not gonna hurt anything, but just want to forewarn you on that. But first thing, we're gonna cut this to length and then we're gonna get our fuse holder on there. And that's gonna be on both the solar side and the battery side. We got 1 for each. All right, so there's the solar panel hooked up and it's gonna sit and lay like so in there. We'll get the battery ones shortened and ran, and I think we're finished. So all our wiring is ran. We got our fuses in, hooked up to the battery. We should be charging off some solar power. I mean, not necessarily as much since we're inside. Once we're all happy with it, we're also gonna pop some holes in this and we'll tuck that wiring in along there. But with that said, we have solar power on the Land Rover. We're pretty much, I'm on a ladder, so I'm really tall, but we're pretty much off the grid ready now. I mean, nothing could go wrong. We've got juice. We got some of that sun juice installed. This is a 100-watt Renogy Solar kit. Like I said, I'll have it in the link down below if you want this. 158 bucks right now. So with aluminum hardware, a couple fuse holders, we're under $200 into adding solar to the budget overlanding LR4. I apologize for it being a little dirty. We were under some trees. Didn't wash it. Kind of a poor owner if you ask me. But pretty low profile up top. Obviously the tent eats up the bulk of that. Got a decent match in aesthetics to the extruded aluminum rack and the extruded aluminum frame on the solar panel. We're blocking most of the sunroof, but we don't use that. Now we got a solar roof. We're like a Tesla. So now on the budget overlanding LR4, we have a fridge, we have water source, we have a stove, we have a sink, and now we have power with the solar panel. So this thing should sustain us for a little bit. My goal on this whole build was like to be able to go out for like a week. And I like to have some tech. We got cameras. I like to have my laptop. So I wanted to be able to use this thing. I mean, I'm not going to live in it. No van life or LR4 life. But I'd like to be able to use it. I'd like to be able to take extended trips and not have to rely on a jump pack or a Jackery or a Goal Zero or anything like that. So we're going to try and do it all in this. We converted that rear plug over to being live all the time. If you want to know about that, give me a comment down below and I'll send the link to you. But anyways, what else do you think we should do to the LR4? Could be suspension, engine, anything. I think we're gonna touch the exhaust here pretty soon. Nothing crazy, but I'm thinking we need to build some rock sliders, maybe add a winch. And before I forget, with the fridge and the solar panel, not the slide, but just the fridge and the solar panel, if you wanted to add that to any car or anything, we got about 600 bucks into solar panel powered 12-volt fridge in the vehicle. What a deal. But anyways, let me know what you think we should build, and right around this area is gonna be the playlist for the other videos on the LR4. As always, have a good night. Appreciate you watching. Give us a like, subscribe, do those things.